episode number 9 of the 100 Successful Women, a Conversation to Inspire series. Every time I am on a new episode of the series, I am always feeling extremely grateful for the conversation I had with all these amazing ladies. Every series, it gave me some great insights and so many inspiration from each and every one of these beautiful women. I'm also very grateful that this series had inspired quite a few of you out there. Thanks once again. Today, I am going to share with you all my conversation I had with Cassandra Faro-Borg, the founder of Plant with Cass. Cassandra is not only someone who is very passionate about plants, but also someone who have a big heart, who really care about others. She has recently won the Soaring Solo Award by Women with Altitude. If you are curious about how she strives as a solopreneur and how she make her passion into her successful business, keep listening to our conversation coming up. Cassandra Faro-Borg. Hey, Cass, I am so thankful for you to be here with us today.
No, thank you. Hi, Vivian. And yeah, I really do appreciate you asking me to, basically for this segment today with you. And yeah, it's an honor to be asked. So thank you.
Yeah, I think you are definitely on one of my 100 successful women list because I find your story very inspiring. And then we met in one of the networking event. I love your business. That's why I got to ask you, no matter you say yes or no, I just got to try, right?
Yeah, that's it. You never know if you never ask.
Yeah, the answer is always no if I don't ask. That's why. Thank you so much once again, Cassandra. So can you please share with our listener out there or the woman out there, who is Cass?
So most people know me as the crazy plant lady.
Crazy plant lady. Wow.
Yeah, I guess I love plants. I love gardening. I always have for even when as a little girl, I was always out in the garden helping my dad, especially with, I come from an Italian background. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, and I learned a lot from my dad in terms of like outdoor gardening, veggies, growing veggies. He came from a family that came from farming back in Italy, and they also had farms here as well when they moved over. So I learned a lot from him. He, although specializes more in, outdoor gardens, rockeries, and veggies, whereas I guess, specialize in indoor plants.
Oh.
So, yeah, I guess that's where the passion has come from for me. And that's basically me, Plant with Cass or Cass. I see myself as the crazy plant lady.
Wow, that's so cute to hear this crazy plant lady's title of you. And I see in one of your introduction, I forgot where did I see that. You was sharing online, was sharing that when you were younger, there's literally up to 200 plants around the house. Is that for real?
Yeah. So I have stopped counting how many plants I actually have in my house. Like you can see plants behind me, like right now. I've got plants in front of me. I've got terrariums in front of me. There's plants, to my right. There's literally like plants everywhere you look. Oh. And this is just one section of the house, and I've got the other section of the house as well. And there's just plants. There's just plants everywhere. Plants outside in my outdoor studio where I teach my workshops as well. So yeah, I love being surrounded by plants and greenery and nature. I think it brings a different sense of like calming, which is why I've got so many plants.
Wow, so. Definitely feel a lot more like harmony when we're going out to the to the nature, but you literally have your nature inside the house. That's so good to have it.
Yeah, it's lovely to have. As I said, it's a different ambience. And, you know, they say having lots of plants in the house, you know, helps with air quality. And it does, and it can. There is science behind, you know, helping with air quality, but it depends on how many plants you actually have in a room. Depends on, and particular plants also as well that help with air quality more than other types of plants. But yeah, so it's lovely. It's lovely.
That's definitely. So you were actually inspired by your dad because he was the one who brought you up to give you or to impact you with the love of all these plants. He must be really proud of you.
Yes, yeah, he is. He shows it in his own way. Yeah, he doesn't always directly tell me. Sometimes he will, and sometimes, yeah, he shows it in his own way by, I guess, talking to his friends and people he works with about me and my business. And I know, you know, just by that and excitement in his voice, you know, when he comes to me and he's like, can you give me one of your business cards? I've got to give it to this person or to this person. And yeah, or can you give me one of your flyers to your workshop? So that's his way of showing how proud he is, I guess, of me. And, you know, I hope to, you know, continue that legacy. You know, he did want to open up his own nursery many years ago, and you know, due to financial reasons and other reasons, he wasn't able to open up his own nursery. So I feel, you know, what I am doing now is, you know, extending that legacy and doing something that I guess, you know, he might not have thought that someone in his, you know, his direct children, you know, would take on and lead that legacy. So I guess that's what I'm doing. I'm doing something that, you know, he would have wanted to do, you know, for himself, but in my own way and in a different way. So
I can tell he definitely very proud of him, but I think he's one of those dad who doesn't show his emotion or his expression as openly, but he's definitely really proud of you.
Yes, yeah, for sure.
So I know that you run workshop as well, and then you mentioned about you doing class for other people for teaching them how to do terrarium. So what are some of the feedbacks from your clients about all this workshop?
They absolutely love it. Like, you know, I've met so many different people from so many walks of life, you know, nationalities, ages, you know, gender, you know, male, female, you know, all different types of people come through my workshops. And, you know, a lot of them come with no plant experience or minimal plant experience to people like, you know, a horticulturalist that actually attended one of my workshops, and everyone absolutely loves it. I guess, you know, you always go into a workshop not knowing what to expect. You sort of have a bit of an idea of what to expect. You know what you're going in there to do and to make, but you don't actually know, you know, what type of experience you're going to have. And, you know, everyone that comes out of my workshop is just, you know, they're so, I guess they're so surprised that for someone that's a plant beginner that they've been able to make a tropical terrarium. And, you know, the feedback that I get is that, you know, my instructions and how I actually teach is very well explained. And, you know, everyone is able to follow along with my instructions really easily because of the way I explain it. I've even been asked, you know, if I would do kids workshops, which, you know, it's something that I'm, you know, will look at doing. Is kids workshop as well, just because of the feedback is you just explain everything so well, and the way you structure the class is just so easy to follow and so easy to enjoy. Yeah, and you know, plant beginners walk out feeling like they've learned all this information. You know, they're going in to learn how to make a tropical terrarium, but also, you know, I've got other knowledge about plants that I also share in my workshops and plant care that I share with others that, you know, may not know about plants, or, you know, how to care for them, or, you know, the right way to care for them and so forth. So, yeah.
I feel that it can't go wrong with this crazy woman with all obsessed with the plants. Oh, wow. So one of the questions that I was asking, probably you did answer earlier as well. If someone who don't have a green fingers like I like I'm one of them, can they actually grow this terrarium that you teaching them?
Yes, definitely. These tropical terrariums with the closed lid is great for plant beginners. Once you learn how to make them, they're quite easy to make, and they really look after themselves because they're a closed terrarium with and you keep the lid on. It creates its own ecosystem in its jar, so it looks after itself. You can leave it there, for months, and it can just sit there and look after itself. You do have to check on it and give the occasional care here and there, which is the care is very simple. It's either if there's too much moisture, take the lid off, wipe the inside of the jar. You might need to air it out for half an hour and put the lid back on. Or if there's no moisture in there for days, you give it a little bit of a light spray, put the lid back on, and that's it. And they really, once the ecosystem establishes itself in the jar, it really looks after itself. I've got terrariums that 6 months, 8 months at a time, they're sitting there now, and I don't touch them. They really look after themselves. I barely even check them anymore. So
that sounds very doable for people like me, because my experience, I can even kill cactus. That's why I'm not sure if I can, but it sounds really low maintenance and definitely doable for someone like me.
Yes, definitely. No, definitely. And I get quite a lot of people that come through my classes and say the same thing as you. They kill cactus or they kill succulents, and succulents are meant to be, an easy plant to care for.
That's what I thought as well.
Yeah, but it's and with succulents and cactus, it's one of those things where it's easy to care for, but you don't, some people overwater them, and that's the problem. And with the terrariums, all I say to people is, let it do its thing, like leave it alone.
Just watch how it grow and just watch it instead of doing too much to it. That's so good and very knowledge. That's a great deal of knowledge that you just shared with us, Cass. So what was your background prior to this entrepreneurship?
My background is quite diverse. I guess I started working in administration, moved on to retail, and then working in fashion and in the wholesale industry of fashion, and factories, like working in factories and sales and selling to shops and retailers, basically our stock that we had in terms of clothing and fashion. And then from there I moved on into the HR, human resource area. So I was in human resource and payroll for quite a few years, and recruitment. And then from there, I've now moved into disability. So it's still a client-facing role, working as a client service consultant in the disability sector. And I still work full time in my job, and also with my business as well. And I call it my side hustle, and I'd like to see where it actually takes me. But maybe in years to come, my business, I hope that it's not just my side hustle. But at the moment I do enjoy what I do, working in my full-time job, which is why I find it hard to give it up. And so I guess I like to share my happiness with everyone, which is why I enjoy working with disability, enjoy working with families, and helping. I guess I've always been that person. I like to help everyone. And that's, I guess, why I love doing the workshops, because I like to share my knowledge and help others. And I guess that's sort of been my background and my journey, and how I've come to where I am today, and all the skills and knowledge that I've learned in my the different jobs that I did, and in those other roles. You just learn so much, and you take so much in, and you don't realize that you've taken so much in, and how much you can then give to then if you want to start your own business, that knowledge that you have.
It's definitely, you got lots of experiences in the foundation for you to start your own business as well.
Yes.
I know that you just started this business like sometime early last year.
Yeah, March last year. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so amazing. And then you just recently won the winner of the Altitude 2022 solo, Soaring Solo. So that's for is that an award for solopreneur?
Yes, yeah. For someone that's in their business that's basically, you know, working solo or solopreneur. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
So with the Women with Altitude and winning that award, I actually didn't think like it was possible. Like I just did. I I was up against 9 other amazing women in business that had been in business for so much longer than what I had, but I was selected as the winner of the Soaring Solo category up against 9 other women. And not a lot of people would know this, but the awards, it's not like your local business award where someone would people vote for you. It wasn't like that. I was nominated by someone, which I now know who it was. And I was nominated by them, and then I had to submit my business to Women with Altitude. There were 7 questions, 250 to 300 words per question, plus submitting photos as well. So I really had to put my business out there and sell my business to the Women with Altitude for the awards. Then I was selected as a finalist, which I was so shocked. And just to be selected as a finalist, and then to be selected as a winner, it's I was absolutely speechless. And I did post some videos on my story, on my Instagram story of, and you just see the sheer shock.
Yeah, I think I did see that video as well.
Because I just and it was so funny because I had a table of 10, all with my close friends and close family that attended with me at the event as well. And the Soaring Solo Award was the last award to be presented. And by that stage, I'm like 4 wines later.
4 wines later.
And I was having a good time. Like I was really there and just really enjoying it. More so, obviously everyone hopes to win, but I never thought that I would win, and I never thought I was going to win, to the point that I didn't even prepare a winning speech. I thought, you know what? If I win, I'll just go up there and I'll just wing it, because I wasn't expecting to win. And then in my face, the sheer shock when I actually, when they announced my name, and I looked over to, my husband and a couple of my friends to my right, and I looked over and I was like, is that my name? Did they just call me? Did I hear that right? So I'm walking up to the stage to give my speech, and in my head I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I need to give a speech. we need to get this together. And I gave the speech, and even my my family and friends that were there, and my brother especially, who he was always good at public speaking in school, and I hated public speaking. I still don't enjoy it to this day, as and some people would say you can't tell, and I'm like, oh, inside I can tell. I hate public speaking. And my brother, who is a barrister, he enjoys public speaking. Even he said to me, he's like, where did that speech come from? And I'm like, I blame the wine.
Oh yeah, that's good that you have the 4 wines and then you just go there. And do you still remember what happened the day next?
Yeah. Like I wasn't drunk or anything. Like the 4 wines were spread across the night, and it wasn't like it was. I think it just helped me relax, and it really helped me to relax, to give my speech and to really explain what I'm all. Don't worry, I was still extremely nervous. I was up there and I was shaking, and I said to my family and friends after, could you see me shaking? And they're like, no, we couldn't see anything. You couldn't even tell. You, like, your speech, where did that come from? And I was just like, I was like literally shaking. But I guess what was coming out in my speech was my passion. And being passionate about what I do, and always your passion will always shine through over anything.
Yeah.
And yeah, and again, lots of things in my life that has pushed me, and I guess pushed me out of my comfort zone to where I am today. So that's my Women with Altitude winners story.
Oh, that's a very cute and very special stories as well. You not only surprise yourself and probably your family and friends about your winning the title, but with your public speaking as well.
Yeah, definitely, for sure.
I love that. That's a very great story. And I really love that you actually, it's something you didn't expect that, but you actually did a lot of work along the way. But to you, probably you think that it's quite normal. It's probably something that it should be doing. But in others' eye, like others women, that's very inspiring and something so big. It's not easy to have a business and you did it all by yourself.
Yeah.
Well, so what's the biggest challenge that you have as a solopreneur?
Time. Time is definitely one of my biggest challenges. Yeah, and because I do, as I said, work full time, and then I come home and I work, weekends, most Saturdays I work, Sundays I try and use as my day off to rest, because you can't work 7 days a week and not have a break. So time is definitely a challenge for me, but I try and manage it as best as I can. And I guess being in a way the only ideas person in your business, I speak to my husband, I speak to some really close friends and family and get their opinions and ideas, and take all of that in, or other people that I meet in business groups, and see what they're doing, and take in all of those ideas, and then I've got to be the one to then execute them, or if I'm sourcing supplies and making sure my website's up and running correctly. My husband does help me with the website side of things, only because he works in IT. But it's basically all me sourcing, running the workshops, setting up the workshops. My husband again does help, and it's great that he's able to help me with even just the small bits, but everything is basically me. I am the face of Plant Medcast. I don't have workers or staff as such, and I guess that's what I'm looking hopefully into later on in the year, once I do start growing, is looking at some casual staff. And I do get help here and there. I have from family and friends over the Christmas period, because I had quite a lot of orders that I needed to get out, so so I had that help from a friend and family members as well. And I guess as a solopreneur, you've got to rely on yourself, but also don't be afraid to ask someone for help if you're really struggling or you need it. So
you got to be resourceful.
Yes. 100%.
Wow, your story is so inspiring. That's definitely inspired a lot of women out there who is probably thinking to start a side hustle like you do.
Yeah, and it's it's quite interesting. I've always, over the years, I've always wanted to start my own business, and I've had ideas of maybe I'll open up my own gym, or and other ideas have always flooded through, but it was this business idea that really stuck, that I thought, what, I have to do this. And because I've always wanted to start a business, and plants is something that I really enjoy, and I might not have studied it in uni or TAFE, but I've learned a lot through just through my own research, watching YouTube, and speaking to other people in the industry. It's just you learn as you go, over the years. And as I said, from my dad as well, I've learned quite a bit from my dad, and I feel like I'm teaching him now when it comes to
so you did a lot of research that he probably a lot more than him now.
Yeah, especially with indoor plants. I feel like I'm teaching him now about indoor plants. And I guess, you know, from his background as well, he used a lot of insecticides.
Mm-hmm.
And he's trying to verge more on the natural side of, you know,
Uh-huh.
with insecticides now. And, you know, and whereas I, you know, I'm quite organic with, you know, the products that I use on my plants. And I think he's starting to take to that. And some things that, you know, I've told him and he said to me, no, that's not going to work. And then I've showed him that it does work. And I've literally showed him it's working. Then he's like, oh, I might try it myself then. So it's
How cute. Wow, that's you are very, very efficient, as in you do your self-learning and you did it really well.
Yeah, it's I guess, you know, and I've always been, even at school, I've always been that type of person that, you know, study doesn't come easily to me. I'm, you know, I'm not a big reader, as in, you know, novels and books. And, you know, English was always so difficult for me in school, you know, and you would never have think that now, but yeah, and it's just, and you know, TAFE and uni was never really something that I wanted to do. I did go to business college and I did that for a year, and, you know, learned some skills there, which I'm really happy that I did. But, you know, years and years of study through uni just wasn't something that I could see myself doing. I'm more of a doer, and I learn, you know, by doing things or listening to people, you know, and that's how I learn.
So you learn by taking action.
Yes.
Instead of just reading the book.
Yeah, it for me, it doesn't sink in just by reading. I have to be physically doing it for it to really sink in. So
wow, that's amazing. You're such an amazing lady.
Oh, thank
Not
you.
only with the plans, but with all this learning and doing things all by yourself. So you were starting this business in March last year. It has been around 10 months, I would say. So what's the biggest lesson that you learned throughout these 10 months?
I guess it's to reach out to people to ask for advice or for help. And I guess don't be afraid to reach out. Like I'm always afraid to reach out to someone to ask for advice or help, or even people in the same industry as me. You know, I always feel, oh, I'm in the same industry, they're not going to want to talk to me. You know, they might feel I'm stealing their business or whatnot. But it's just, I want to connect with people that are doing similar things to me or in the same industry as me, because, you know, you're then in some way still supporting them, and, you know, you learn from each other. So yeah, I think that's, yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing, is like when you learn from someone in the same industry, it's actually create a win-win situation for everyone. That's the things that you have learned throughout these 10 months, is it? So yeah, definitely to reach out for help and then be resourceful. That's very important for like people who is like solopreneur like you are. Yeah,
and I guess, but believing in yourself as well is a big thing. It's always hard to believe in yourself, and, you know, you always get you know, that imposter syndrome that they talk about. So it's definitely believing in yourself and believing that you can do something if you really just push yourself to think that you can do it. And, you know, you have your good days and you have your bad days, and that's everyone. And it's just really pushing through those days where you're feeling like you're in self-doubt.
It's great that you mentioned imposter syndrome. So how did you overcome that? Because I think that's very common for people nowadays.
Yeah, it's and it still happens. Like, and I think it still happens with anyone in any business, whether you're male or female. Imposter syndrome, you know, is there. And I guess, you know, the ways that I overcome it is, you know, I might, you know, sit and watch videos on something, you know, that I want to learn to incorporate into my business. Running my workshops, I feel that really helps, you know, when I'm in front of people and teaching people, you know, how to make something, and I see the enjoyment from them, that really helps me to, you know, I guess, you know, for myself, you know, they're enjoying it. You know, people enjoy, you know, what I'm teaching and what I can bring to them. And yeah, it gives you a sense of, I guess,
fulfillment.
yeah, fulfillment. And, you know, people, you know, believe in you, and that's and that's what it really is all about.
That's so beautiful. The value that you give to others definitely bigger than anything else.
Yeah.
Love that. Thank you so much for sharing that, Cassandra. So the biggest motivation for you, what's the biggest motivation for you?
I think it still comes down to the enjoyment that I see in other people when they, you know, when they buy my terrariums or they attend my workshops. That's my biggest motivation, is seeing other people's enjoyment. I do.
You have such a big heart, not only for your own business, but in your job that you're doing as well.
Thank you. Yeah, it's yeah, I've always had a big heart, and, you know, not a lot of people know that about me, and until, you know, only close family and close friends, you know, know that about me. So yeah.
Oh, that's so beautiful. So because you doing this business on your own, and then I believe that when we're doing the business as a solopreneur, there will be time that was under pressure, like you say. Time is the things that you is the biggest challenge for you, and sometimes probably you were under stress when you're in business. What are your tips on overcoming pressure or stress?
I guess it's just take the time out for a break. That's what I've had to learn, because I find when I don't take the time out, especially in those high pressure periods like Christmas that just passed, and I, you know, I had quite a lot of orders, and, you know, I was really under pressure to get those orders out because I had quite a few orders. But I just taking those breaks, even if it's like, you know, a quick 5-10 minutes, you know, walk up and down the house and come back, or, you know, walk outside, get some fresh air, come back. I think breaks are really important. And as I mentioned before, you know, Sundays I try and leave as my day that, you know, I don't work if I can. Most of the time I'm not working, but I'm always on my phone, you know, researching something, or, you know, looking into something. But that's because I guess I enjoy it, and it's my passion. But I try not to physically do, you know, any work on the business as such, if I can, on a Sunday. Just giving myself that one day to have that break.
Yeah, that's very important message for people out there, because you work hard on your business, in your job, but you also have to give time not only to yourself but to your loved one as well.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
That's a great tips there. And so what's next for you in business? I think you briefly mentioned about having kids class. Any others that you plan for your business?
I'm hoping to bring out some toolkits as well. So a lot of people that have come to my workshops are really wanting, you know, toolkits, so they can basically buy them and take them home with them, so they can maintain their terrariums. Or if they already have terrariums at home, you know, they might not have the right toolkit. So I'm looking into toolkits at the moment, expanding to other stockists. So I do have a couple of stockists at the moment that stock my terrariums. So this year I really want to expand, you know, how many stockists I have. You know, I really want to get my products out there to Sydney, and you know, and showcase, you know what I've got in terms of my products. I guess one thing I didn't mention is, you know, I felt like there was, I guess, a gap in Western Sydney when it came to workshops. You know, Western Sydney doesn't have a lot of, you know, these types of workshops where, you know, rather than, driving to the city for the workshops, there's something here in Western Sydney. And I really wanted to bring, something to the people of Western Sydney that they can come and enjoy. There's workshops out here as well that they can enjoy. You don't always have to go to the city. And then I just felt that there was that niche and gap in Western Sydney that, I needed to bring to the people here. So
yeah, I love that. Definitely not many choices of the workshop around here.
No, and that's my biggest thing this year is then trying to expand that reach, so more people know about my workshops and can come along, and enjoy the workshops. I have my public workshops, but I also organize private workshops if people want to book private workshops as well. I can do that also. So yeah, that's I guess my plan for this year for the business.
Wow, that's a lot of plans that you have there. So at the moment you were saying that you got 2 stockists, and then the rest are most of them are coming through your website, is it?
Yes, so mainly from my website, and then I find actually my stockists tend to sell a little bit more than what comes through my website, but I think that's because people like to see it in person. Right. And that's why I want to get out to more stockists in Sydney this year. I do set up at market stalls as well. So I do have a few market stalls I will be setting up at this year.
Running by yourself as well?
Well, yes, I generally have helpers for the market stalls, like, my husband or a friend or, family member, just because there's just so much to set up when it comes to the market stalls, and transporting all of those terrariums and all that glass.
Yeah, that's not an easy thing to do.
It's quite scary.
That's a lot of things, especially with the big glass that you're having. It's going to be really heavy.
Yeah, it's heavy and really fragile. So, we have to pack everything so well. So when we do transport it to the markets and then, whatever, and we don't sell them, we transport back home, everything has to be packed so well. So it's time consuming to have that all packed correctly.
Oh my goodness. You did so many great things out there, and I don't know how you find the time, because most of the market will be on during the weekend, right?
Yeah. Most of the markets are either a Saturday or a Sunday. But again, I enjoy the markets because I get to speak to so many people and meet so many people. So
you're definitely a people person. It's lovely. It's lovely to speak to you.
Thank you, baby. It's also lovely to speak to you as well. You're so humble and
thank you so much. I really love what you're sharing with us, and then I think it's going to inspire a lot of ladies out there, especially someone who is thinking to start to make their passion like you have the passion with the plants into their business, because some people might thought that it's not doable, but see, you are a great example. You are so passionate about the plants, and then you make it into a business. So what would you say to someone who is thinking to do that?
Just go out there and do it. Like, it's, you really have to push yourself and believe in yourself that you can do it. And as I said, you will always have that self-doubt, but it's about pushing past that self-doubt, and anything is possible. And I never thought that this could be possible, but now once I've dived in, it's about sort of diving in the deep end and basically trying to swim on the other on the other side. So it's you do need to anyone that's starting a small business, and it's always hard as a woman to start any business. It doesn't come, sometimes it doesn't come as easy as what it does for men when it comes to business. A lot of people trust men more than women sometimes, and I think that's just society itself, but it's about us as women showing everyone and showing the world that yes, women can also be successful in business. So it's just really getting out there and diving in the deep end.
Wow, just do it, right?
Yeah, that's it, just do it.
I love that. And then I really think that once you are in that first step, then you can go to the next step and the third step, and then you figure it out along the way.
Yeah, and you do, like, you do figure it out along the way. I've sat here some nights where, I have this big problem, and I need to try and figure it out, and I will do everything I can to try and figure out and research how I'm going to tackle the problem. Or, I might speak to, my husband, or speak to close friends or close family, and, tell them, look, this is a problem that I have. What's your take on it? What's your idea on it? Or other people, in business as well. I may reach out to and, ask them, how have they tackled this problem? So, yeah.
Wow. It sounds to me you always have a clear mind when you're doing things. Is that always the case?
No, not usually. Not always. No, I'm that type of person where I've always got so many things like rushing and racing through my head, and I have to tell myself to slow down, take a breath. And that's actually where, when my head just gets filled with so much ideas or so many things that I need to do, I write it down. So I have a diary, and I write in point form everything that I'm thinking or everything that I need to do. And then I find that I'm a bit more calm again. And then I can start, look at the first thing, mark it off the list, look at the second thing, mark it off the list.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a great tip. That's very good tips there. I find that a lot of entrepreneurs, women entrepreneurs that I speak to, I think the other day I spoke to another 100 successful woman, Lisa. She also said that she got thousands of things going in her mind, and you got a very great tips there to put things on paper, and that's what she was doing as well.
Yeah, you have to, otherwise you have sleepless nights as well, or you wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning and you've got all these things rushing through your head. So I just quickly get up, write it down so I don't forget it, and try and get back to sleep. Otherwise I just sit there just thinking about it in bed, and I can't fall back to sleep.
Oh, wow. But that's better that you have to declutter everything in your mind and then put that so that you can go to sleep peacefully.
Yeah, definitely.
That's how cute is that. So where can people find you online?
So they can find me on Instagram and Facebook, Plant with Cass. And you can also find me on my website, so www.plantwithcass.com. And on my website as well, I've got my workshops, my public workshops that you can book into, or you can contact me for private workshops as well. I've got a few public workshops up on my website at the moment that people can book into in February and March. So I've got a couple of dates on Friday nights that I run some workshops, and then I've just opened up a date in March for my Saturday morning workshop.
Wow. So ladies who want to look for how to learn about terrarium and then to get yourself out of this crazy world, so busy every day, I think that's a very good workshop to have a peaceful and get out of the busyness that we have in our daily life. Yeah,
definitely. And I always say it's not just for ladies, it's for men too. Men come along to my workshop, thinking, they come along with their partners or their mom, and they sort of come along thinking, oh yeah, I was just dragged along.
And what was the outcome?
And that's why they're here. And 9 times out of 10, they, leave the class loving it more. Just as much as whoever brought them along. And yes, so it's just as much for men as what it is for women. And it's definitely not a women's workshop, even though it's seen like that. I have many men come through my doors from all walks of life, from horticulturalists to a nurse, to admin and students. So yes, I've got IT industry. I had someone come through from the IT industry. So people come through from all walks of life, men and women. So everyone is welcome.
I love that. I got to do one of those workshops in the coming future for sure.
Yes, definitely.
Thank you so much for what you have sharing with us today. It's definitely very inspiring. So what's your last piece of advice for all the women out there, because this is a 100 successful woman and a conversation to inspire. What is your last piece of advice?
Find what brings you joy and go for it. And don't let other people stop you or tell you that you can't do it, because if you want to do it and it's inside you, you can do anything that you put your mind to, and you just need to block out all the noise that's around you and, you know, and what other people are telling you that you can't do, and you need to show them that you can do it.
Wow, that's a great piece of advice there. I love that. Believe in yourself and don't worry so much about what other think of us, and then find your joy.
Yeah, and it's hard. It's always hard to, you know, to block out what other people are saying, you know, and you know, people, you know, have said to me, oh, I don't know if this is going to work, and oh, do you really think it's going to work? You know, it's hard, you know, I'm a female in business, and yeah, you really just have to go for it. Don't worry about what they have to say, and just do what you want to do, and show them that it is possible.
I love that message. Show them what's possible.
Yeah.
Thank you so much to you, Cass, again. And before we wrap up, is there anything that I haven't asked you that you think that I should be asking?
Oh, fun, or I guess a fun fact that I didn't mention before, that also, I guess, led me to where I am, and pushing myself, and I guess putting myself out there, was a few years ago. I was actually competing in bodybuilding. Which not, you know, a lot of people won't know that about me. So I was a bodybuilder competitor, and you know, in the bikini, basically I'm a bikini model, and yeah, and it was about, you know, that really taught me about, you know, dedication and pushing yourself, and, you know, again, people saying that you can't do it, and it was all about, that was my motivation. No, I'm going to do it because I want to do it, and I'm going to push myself. So that really pushed myself to dedicate myself to something and put my all into it. Doesn't matter what anyone else said. So that, and then getting up on stage and showcasing myself, which, you know, in a bikini, that's not easy. And it's, you know, everyone's watching you, and, you know, it really changes your mindset, I guess. And that helped me in some ways to where I am today, to basically push myself and put myself out there. So there's always, everyone has a path, everyone has a journey, and it's about taking, you know, bits and pieces from your path and from your journey. Yeah, and that's something, you know, different, that not a lot of people will know about me. And I don't do it anymore. I had to unfortunately give it up. But and that's why I'm like, well, I need another passion. I need something to consume me or keep me busy, I guess. So this definitely keeps me busy.
That's one big bonus that you just shared with us there, something that we didn't realize. It is, aside from your craziness with the plan, you actually did something even more crazy. That was like something definitely built you into someone who is a lot stronger today.
Yes, and I believe by, you know, competing for a couple of years, it has definitely made me a lot stronger and more resilient. It definitely has built my resilience up.
Yeah, definitely. The word resilient is really important.
Yes, yeah, sure, 100%.
Wow, thank you so much for sharing that last bit there, and then something amazing that you've done. And yeah, thank you so much again, Cassandra, for your time with us today. It's so insightful and so many golden nuggets that you just shared.
No, thank you so much for your time, Vivian, and again for, you know, feeling like I'm an inspiration to other women. You know, I don't always think that of myself, so thank you for asking me to be on your segment today.
You are definitely an inspiration to many, because see how many good things that you have done. And yeah, I really love what you just shared with us.
Thank you. Thanks, Vivian. Thanks so much.
Hopefully next time we will have you up here and share more golden nuggets and see how you're doing later.
Yes, yeah, sounds good. I'm more than happy to.
Thank you so much, and hopefully to see you again next time.
Yes, thanks, Vivian.
Bye.
Bye.